Oh, I'll deal with this little compromise later. I'll forgive that person later. I'll get rid of this anger and bitterness another day. It's okay that I get so offended. It's okay that I'm easily triggered. On this episode, I'm going to share about how the enemy is able to exploit even the smallest things that we leave unaddressed and the importance of addressing them right now. Welcome to Cutting Edge Faith. I'm Ryan Howard. This podcast is here to help you understand the times, stand for truth, and grow in your faith. Now, I watched an interview last week that was 3 hours long, and it was with James Kawalia, and he is an ex-Satanist, a high-ranking African warlock who encountered Jesus. And it's been 20-some years now since he came to Christ, but this man's testimony is just absolutely incredible. And he went from local witchcraft in Africa, in Uganda, I believe, and went to the occult, which is a global occult. And he just shares so much behind the scenes of what's really going on there. And it's not because we're interested in that stuff, but it's because we want to know what the enemy is doing. And one of the things that really stuck out to me was really how diligent and strategic the enemy truly is. This man told testimonies of how they would target ministries because there were territories that they couldn't take in the spiritual realm because of certain people, individuals, and ministries. And so they would do like a case study, and he got a 500-page report on an individual. And with 10 generations of information, the last 10 generations, and he could look for patterns and different things and habits and hang-ups. And, oh, this woman had a problem with her mother, even though her mother passed away. Or this person has unforgiveness in the past. Or this person abused this or that. Little things that he could remind them of or somehow get in there. And he snuck people into these ministries that they appeared to be for the ministry. They would bring money or different things like that. And what it really stuck out to me was how they exploited the weaknesses that these people most likely knew that they had. And so on this episode, I want to talk a little bit about that. Now, 2 Corinthians 2:11 says, so that we might not be outwitted by Satan, for we are not ignorant of his designs or his schemes. We're not ignorant of what Satan will use or what he will do or how he will come against us. And I really felt a conviction last week when I was watching this. There's a few things that I just thought, man, I need to be not offended by that. I need to be not bothered by that. I need to let this go. I need to let that go. I need to deal with this. These kinds of things cannot go unaddressed. And so 1 Peter 5:8 says, be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. And that was evident from this interview. Now, when I was a production supervisor, there was somebody who was just complaining about another person and said they make him so angry. And I mentioned it, and he said this a few times, and I finally said, hey man, you cannot give that kind of power to this guy. You cannot let him make you that angry. You're just giving him power. And he never really thought about it that way. And I want to talk about how when we let these little things go, what we're really doing. Now, this guy that came out of witchcraft and Satanism and the occult, he would exploit things that were compromises in people's lives or little open doors, and it would weaken them in the spirit. It would weaken their discernment. They would lose control. They would lose authority in the spirit. Their words would not have the same weight. They lost strength in the spirit. And why would we want to give up control like that? We don't. So we can't let these things stay. And so I want to invite you to reflect. Take a little time, reflect, be real with yourself, and look for any open doors that the enemy might be exploiting. It's like a little hook in our mouth. The enemy can just pull anytime he wants. Psalm 139:23 says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. So what is it? Is there anything that comes to mind right now for you? Are there thought patterns, reoccurring thought patterns? Are you reliving the past in some way? Is there jealousy or covetousness? Is there pride or lust? Or is there unforgiveness? That's a very common one. Or bitterness towards somebody? Are there temptations that you know you're setting yourself up for, that you can avoid something and not be tempted? Is there something you're putting above God? Is there something that's more important to you than your time with the Lord? You see, this man and the people, his minions, the people that were working with him in the time when he was in the occult, would literally leverage. They would literally go in and just poke whatever the one thing was that they knew would bother this person. And it led to a devastating problem. And I would encourage you to watch the interview. I'll put a link in the show notes. But what is it for you? Is there anything that sticks out? Is there something you can really go deep on and let the Lord deal with it, really surrender it to Him? We cannot afford to let these things go unaddressed. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind." Renewing your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God and what is good and acceptable and perfect. So we need to keep all our faculties, all our spiritual discernment about ourselves. We need to keep that. We need to stay close with the Lord. We cannot lose authority in the Spirit. We cannot lose control. We cannot lose discernment. We cannot lose our strength. So we need to renew our minds. We need to let God search us and deal with the things that we know we need to deal with. The time's coming. I hope you listened to the Church Purge episode I did recently. The time is coming, and we need to be standing on the solid rock that is Jesus Christ. And we need to be addressing the things and walking in obedience and walking in purity and righteousness. Of course, we only build on what Jesus Christ did. He is the way to salvation. And the fruit coming out of that, well, we need to allow God to prune us and walk in obedience. So what is it for you? If you're on the video of this, you can leave a comment below, or you can find the link in the show notes if you're listening to the audio, and you can send me an email and let me know what's on your mind. What is it for you? Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you for listening. God bless, and we'll see you in the next episode.